How y'all doing? Happy birthday to Kathy Davis. Happy birthday to LaQuish Davis. All right. On this day in 2011, no, on this day in 1986, I turned in guns and drugs to the police to end the war on drugs. I can't raise my kids locked up, and I can't raise my kids dead. So I made a documentary and a movie about it. The war on drugs is a war on the black community. It disenfranchises our community. It destabilizes our family. You seen the movie Claudine? You seen the movie Birth of a Nation? Yeah. You seen the movie Watergate? Well, this is Watergate 2026. On February the 21st, 1986, I turned in guns and drugs to the police. It was my daughter's birthday, LaQuish, all right? And the police put their hands on my daughter. Now, you mess with a black man's family, you suffer the consequences. So what I did is I shut up the town. I tore up the town. You can Google the case search, State of Illinois versus Dwayne Davis, 1986. So we're going to do it again, minus the guns and the drugs. In 1972, Richard Nixon developed the Southern strategy. He put guns and drugs in the black and Hispanic community. You feel me? So that's what this movie is about. Get shorty. That's President Trump. I'm an artist and I get shit done. That's Dr. K. And that's Governor Westmore. A history lesson. Dred Scott. Do blacks have rights in which white America respects? Well, Dr. K, this is a class for you today. Racism don't work without black cooperation, but it ain't gonna end without white participation. Education instead of incarceration, books over bars. Like I said, I gave you Martin Luther King. I was keeping a dream alive. Right here, these are representatives. I'm an artist, I'm an activist, and this is the activism. This is my blanket. When I first started in business in 1997, Richard Sher, Kai Jackson, y'all did the first story on me. I worked at the Corinthians for over 15 years. I'm an activist. I helped free Keith Davis. Free Keith Davis, now I want a trial. Like I said, Maryland Arts Day, 2026. From 1986 to now, 40 years a slave. That's Speaker Melnyk. And Speaker Melnyk had a fantastic speech about the Constitution, how she protects the Constitution. Well, Speaker Melnyk had my information since January 3rd, 2000. Since January 3rd of this year. These are our representatives. And this is how they represent us. This is 2026, from 2026 to 1986. The war on drugs, 40 years a slave. You go directly to Delegate Sheila Roof, she got all my paperwork. Sitnor said go to the grand jury. So I did this. These are our representatives. You stand up for Tennessee but won't open your mouth about me. You feel me? That's Kaylin Young, Delegate Stephanie Smith. Like I said, I can't raise my kids locked up and I can't raise them in jail. I can't raise them dead. So I want I want exoneration of the Supreme Court, a writ of sociority, and you are holding me back from my freedom. That's the ACLU. Everything the ACLU got, you got to turn over. That's me. Y'all do conversations about me, but I'm never included in the conversation. I'm an honorably discharged veteran of the United States Navy. We participated in Iran-Contra. We transported drugs to America. You feel me? I'm the founding member of the Baltimore Bloc. Activism ain't terrorism. I'd free a lot more if you knew you were slaves. That's youth in actions. And that's my son, Philip. All right? And like I said, Maryland Citizens for the Arts. Out for justice. We talking about what I did then and what I do now. That's me in 1986. No, that's me in 1981. Territorial drug dispute. 1986, I ended the war. I wanted to end the war on drugs. If you go to Out for Justice, they got all my paperwork. That's Best of Book Bus. We giving out over 1.5 million books for free. I'm the king of talking shit and I can back it up. I can back it up because I put it in a book. That's a stop work order the city put on my grill. The city put that on my grill and they thought it was funny. So we're going to see how funny it is. Being black is not a crime. And you see how it is? That's the Department of Justice, United States Marshals. And we talk about the money behind mass incarceration. That's my granddaughter. All right, she gave me that as a gift. Duck, duck, goose. That's Steny Hoyer in the Constitution. That's Tim Tootin before he died. See that? To Shorty. All right, Tim Tootin, WBAL. That's the NAACP. Kobe Little, Benjamin Jealous. And if you look at the The thing about C.D. Witherspoon, that's the toilet C.D. Witherspoon was mad about. That's the shoe shine toilet. Like I said, I'm Shorty, the champion for justice. It ain't gonna be just us no more. Governor Westmore, sign or die, exoneration of the Supreme Court. Because like I said, I put everything in a book and a movie. That's me and Lewis Woods. All right, that's me and Louis Woods. And that's me and Brandon Scott. Shorty, pull your mask up? No, we gonna mask Baltimore. You gonna be my main witness. Yeah, you gonna be my main witness. If Kwame Kilpatrick can go to jail, so can you. Hard to raise your kids when you locked up. So I think you better start snitching. Our ballot is under threat. So like I said, this is Watergate. That's Tessa from the Department of Justice. And that's me when I started this. You see that? That's me when I started this. A book and a movie. Get Shorty. A black man raising his family. So when I go to court, we're going to take my whole family to court with me. It's going to be a family reunion. That's Jake Davis. So Jake Davis, James Hammond, Brother Insurance, Bank of America, SunTrust Bank. We talking about $250 million in intellectual property theft. Y'all knowingly permitted Jake to run my store while I was locked up. Scott Schellenberger destroyed the evidence. The comptroller refuses to give me an audit. When I get an audit, everything gonna come to the light of day. $250 million in intellectual property theft, and Jake signed the movie release. He who wears the crown is heavy to head. I'm the king of talking shit, and I can back it up. That's me at the governor's mansion. You feel me? At the gates. We at the gates. You feel me? That's WBL. And that's Chucky Hustle. And you see who he is, DJ 5-Star. This is a book all about Baltimore and being black in America. That's me and Boone. That's State's Attorney Ivan Bates and also Brooks. That's Runners for Justice. See who that is? Councilman Conway. That's Andy Pierre. And we talking about mass incarceration under mega administration. Mass incarceration. I'm an ex-felon. We got a right to vote. You feel me? We got a right to vote. I'm not anti-police. I'm anti-corruption. And that's me at Starbucks. That's me in the church. That's me in the V. And that's me and Kai Jackson. You feel me? So we talking about Fox in the hen house. That's me in analysis from Red Emmers. Like I said, put it in a book. You want to hide something, hide it in a book. Y'all know who he is. Y'all know who he is. This is the Black Mall. This is the Black Mall in Baltimore. All right. And like I said, I'm the king of talking shit. And I can back it up because it's in the book right here. Y'all made me famous for toilets. And I'm going to run with that shit. So in 2026, exoneration of the Supreme Court. Because making a movie ain't against the law. And the movie's all about Baltimore. See Dan, see Hillary, see Anne Frank's in the tapes. Yeah. If y'all stood up for Anne Frank and y'all cared about Anne Frank, you're going to care about us. That's the FBI. That's Anne Frank. That's President Obama. That's Lester Holt. That's President Trump. And that's the Inspector General. You feel me? So let's close the book on this one. Exoneration of the Supreme Court. These are legislators by district. You feel me? This is 2026. Sign or die. Exoneration of the Supreme Court. You feel me? Bill Ferguson, you got my paperwork. Yeah, everything that we got, you got to do. Clippinger, everything you got to give up. The 2026 session. Legislators by district. You freed Keith Davis. I want a trial.